ABUS 7240. This is a Yale style paracentric keyway, and we're going to use the top of the keyway nub here. So we're using a 0.8 millimeter tensioner, which is pretty thin, just to fit in there. And pin 1 is binding right away. Into a false set. Pin 2. Gonna go ahead right up this ramp. There we go. Pin 4. 5. 6. Pin 1's binding again. Back into our false set. Four. Might need to get up on this ledge again. A few high lifts in here, so using this warding ledge helps me get to them. Pin 2 is now binding again. Essentially using heavier tension to find binders, lightening up when I am applying pick force. Really easy to slip off this one. Very high lift and an open. So let's go ahead and get that gut. There's our 7240 body. And try not to shake the camera too much. Get it over to our autofocus. Keep this in view here. Gonna adjust the camera to an overhead. All right, so like most padlocks, there is a retaining screw of some variety in there, I hope. Get the focus fixed, there we go. Looks like just a Phillips. In this case, it probably retains the whole core. And it does. There's our actuator. So we got a 6-pin core, as we would expect. We're gonna lock it back up to get this little circlip off. There's that. Let's find ourselves a tiny follower. Looking at how this core is situated, we need to rotate it so that this thicker part is on our, so so that this thicker part is where our drivers are. So we're going to use the key, rotate that towards the drivers, and there's a little bit of a gap there, so I might want to shove a shim in. So let's go ahead and get ourselves a shim. Whenever you're in doubt, use a shim. It will keep you safe while you are gutting. Oh, I keep bumping the darn camera. My apologies. There we go. Make sure solid part is to the top. And we're just going to slide the core over onto our follower. And then take a look at our 6 key pins. So there's 1, 2. 2 decided to end up a little bit off to the side there. We'll put him back. As you can see, he was indeed quite a high lift. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's go ahead and get these arranged. You can see there are definitely a couple higher lifts there. In this lock, like I said earlier, there is a risk of some of them being completely in the core. We'll take a look when we get the drivers out, but I think 2, 4, 3 all are at risk of being entirely in the core. So this is an offset core, so we know that the drivers are going to come out on the same line as this. Here, we can go ahead and get our shim out. And take a look at what we're working with. 4 pins. Pin 1 is a standard, kind of what I expected since that one put us into a false set right away. Since I see the springs sticking out, we're gonna get those out right away as well. Pin 2 is a spool. Pin 3 is a spool. Pin 4 is another spool. I'm actually going to switch sides here. Probably should have done that earlier for pin 4, but just to make it easier for you guys to see, I'm going to do pin 6 now. Pin 6 is a spool, and I anticipate that pin 5 will be a spool as well. Yep, and there we have it. Pin 5 was also another spool. So there are 6 pins. So like I said, the biggest threat here, I'll actually zoom in. When you have really high lifts, you have these really short key pins, and with a deeper core like this, For example, pin slot 2 here, if we insert that, there's a possibility that with the driver, it also sits pretty much right at the shear line already, which presents a definite risk. Basically, the spring will be riding right on here, and this could theoretically probably go without even being picked, and then the whole thing would slide inside of the core or inside of the body with the spring on top, and the spring has a chance to get caught on something and get mangled. So when you're picking something like this, you do have to be careful that when you're applying tension, that you're feeling a solid tension, not some sort of springiness, which indicates you might be pushing on a spring itself. And that presents its own damage dangers, so do be careful if you are picking one of these ones, that you are not essentially letting those ride on there. So when I was picking it, the first sign is that I get that false set, and when I push on these, they were really resistant. No feeling a counter rotation or whatever, they just feel solid. So what I did is essentially manually counter rotate so that I can lift at least the spool lip up into the Bible, and then apply tension again, and then just go ahead and go through it until I find either a binding pin or another one that felt solid like that. It's not every ABUS 7240 will have that problem, but any of them that have one of these max cuts, this max high lift cut probably is going to run into that issue especially. That's it. I will see you guys next time.